Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my shop. Today we are making a dovetail chisel. Now this is a project I've wanted to do for a long time. A dovetail chisel is a great thing for getting back into the corners because the end is flared and it's just a really usable, fun tool. And particularly we're doing this as a collaboration with Burly Woodworks, another YouTube channel that I absolutely love. He does some really cool things. He's gotten into some blacksmithing and knife working, but he's making this Damascus Steel dovetail chisel that is absolutely gorgeous. So I had to find a piece of wood to make it match, and I found this piece of live oak that is just wild and crazy and matches the Damascus steel that's just beautiful. So let's dive in and take a look at how we made this. For this project, I'm going to be using a piece of live oak that was given to me by a viewer a while ago. I also made a carving mallet out of it that I turned on a spring pull lathe. That was a fun project. But I've been saving this piece for the chisel handles for a while now. I'm going to start by ripping them down into pieces that are a little bit smaller than 1 inch by 1 inch. I'll eventually bring them down to about 3/4 by 3/4. I just love seeing this in slow motion and seeing how the dust flies out. It's a lot of fun to see in slow motion. It's more fun than it is in full speed. But the next thing we want to do is flatten one side down and bring it into a nice, true, flat, twist-free surface. Now that I have a reference face on here, I can start by making a second reference face. And I'm going to make sure that this one then is 90 degrees to the first one. This allows me to then know I have one true corner that I can work off of. If I need to make any marks or anything, I can stay with that corner. Next, we need to drill a hole for the tang, so I'm going to choose a bit that is slightly smaller than the tang on the chisel. This way I can open up the hole to then fit the exact shape of the tang. I'll start by drilling into it, going slowly, making sure not to go too fast, and not to break the bit like, oops. Yeah, that was because I went a little too fast. There's a lot of torque you can put on with these braces. They're surprisingly powerful. We'll just keep going in and out until we get it down to depth, especially with a smaller bit like this. You want to take your time until it is down to the depth you're looking for. Don't take it too fast. Now that we have a hole, we can start opening it up for the tang of the chisel. And I'm going to use a set of small files to bring it out and open it up for the tang. These are square needle files that are a very similar shape to the tang on the chisel. And a little bit of work here and there, and we can start to see how it's going to fit in. Once we pound it on a little ways, we can see what we need to do, take it off, and then address it again with the files. And then we can put it onto the tang, check its fit, and go back and forth until we get it fairly close. We want to have a nice tight fit all the way around, and you're going to see a bit of a repetition to this as we go back and forth between the file and the tang and the file and the tang until it starts to get close. And once I know that it's right about where it needs to be, then we can do that final couple pounds that drive it right down onto the shoulder. And that is what makes me happy. A nice tight fit between the chisel and the handle. Now we can cut it to length and bring it into that final size. I want the handle to be slightly rectangular. I don't want a square shape, and it will be octagonal as well. So I'm going to start working the shape of the chisel handle down to a rectangle that looks good. It's nice and straight in line with the chisel, so if the chisel is slightly out of alignment with the handle, I can change the handle to match. And once I get that rectangular shape that I'm looking for, then we can put it into the vise and start taking the corners off. I want to make sure that the rectangle is square, if that makes any sense. Making sure that is exactly right will make it far easier in the future when we start taking the corners off to make it octagonal. Oh, I love this part where you start to see the grain come to life. This is really one of the big reasons why I use hand tools. Just that enjoyment, the curls, the fun. It's beautiful. Next thing we can do is put it in the vise so that the corners are being pinched and there'll be one corner vertical, and then I can use the plane to bring that corner down into a flat surface. I'm not going for anything specific or marking out exactly where I want to stop. I'm just doing it by eye until the surfaces are about what I want them to be. The next thing we can do is then plane the corners, add a chamfer, and that will just give it that finished look on the butt of the chisel, making it slightly comfortable to the hand but still having some friction so you can feel the chisel in your hand. That's the way I like it. This actually goes fairly quickly, and it works well on the butt end of the chisel, but on the end of the chisel with the chisel, it's a little bit more difficult. So I'm actually going to use a chisel to make the chisel. Uh-oh, I just scared a bunch of people here. But take your time, and it's really fairly easy. You don't have to use a plane because a plane is just a jig to make the chisel easier. In this case, just take off a little bit by little bit until you get that chamfer exactly what you're looking for. And you can have a little bit of fun here. And this, I love how this comes out, and it's just a very fun piece of process. Speaking of fun, let's get to the boiled linseed oil. Oh, yeah. I love the way boiled linseed oil brings out the color and the swirl in this live oak. It's just absolutely gorgeous and makes my day. I was very pleased with how the swirl matches the Damascus Steel. Wow, I can't say much more. I was just blown away. Once the boiled linseed oil has soaked in a few times, then we can add some paste wax, let that sit for a while, and then come back with a rag and buff off the excess paste wax. Get that really nice shine that feels really good in the hand. The last thing we need to do is sharpen it before use. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this as I have several videos on sharpening chisels, but I like to use diamond plates. They're just a little faster, cleaner, less problems with them. I'll go with a coarse, a medium, and a fine until I get that edge really nice and keen, and then we will take it over to the strop and buff it out. The strop is really where the magic happens, and you get that beautiful shine on the edge. And if you do it right, you'll see this tiny little wire burr come off. Very, very little, but you might be able to see it in this camera. Ooh, happiness. That just lets you know it's sharp, it's ready to go, and you can test it out on some ingrain, on this walnut ingrain. A fun little test to play with some curls, just with very, very light pressure, shearing it off. Happiness. And I am overjoyed with this chisel. Absolutely blown away with how this thing came out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to using this for many, many years to come. And yeah, I'm happy. Can you tell? So there you have it. This is an absolutely gorgeous tool that I am in love with, and I'm really looking forward to the next chance I get to do dovetails and play around with it. I'll probably find other chances for other things. It is a very delicate tool for very precise little things to work with. This isn't the tool you pound on or put a lot of force into. And I have to say a huge thank you to the Burly Woodworks channel for putting this together. This is absolutely awesome. You do some phenomenal work. You've got to take a look at his channel. And also in a few days we're going to have a video coming out where we're doing a Damascus knife that he made that was for carving or whittling, and we'll be doing a giveaway on that. So stay tuned for that, and definitely go check out his channel. I do want to say a huge thank you to all the patrons on Patreon, particularly people who help out the channel through buying shirts and card scrapers. You really are making wood by Wright something amazing. So thank you for that. If you'd like to find out more about that, I have links down below as well as up in the cards, and you can help out the channel there. Also, like, comment, subscribe. Those really do help. Thanks for that. Until next time, have a wonderful day.